Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special public service announcement sponsored by me and Mormon Stories podcast. It's October 19th, 2020, and this is going to be super brief, probably like 10, 15 minutes at the most. I have with me Tyler Lefevor. Is that how you pronounce it, Tyler?
Yeah, that's it, John. Happy to be here.
And just to give a tiny bit of background, many of you or some of you will know that when I was getting my PhD in psychology, my PhD dissertation was on the LGBTQ Mormon experience and post-Mormon experience. And so we studied 1,612, I believe, survey respondents. And the main things that we were trying to understand, basically, Bill Bradshaw reached out to me, this awesome biology professor from BYU, and he's like, there's all this talk about conversion therapy and reparative therapy. Evergreen was going strong. There was really no public discourse challenging reparative therapy. And there was even low-grade scholarship that was trying to bolster conversion therapy and reparative therapy. So Dr. Bradshaw and I, along with Renee Gallagher at Utah State University, did this study primarily to find out whether or not explicit attempts at sexual orientation change were effective. In addition to that, we also studied quality of life for different option life choices. So we wanted to find out, is celibacy a healthy recommendation? Is mixed orientation marriage a healthy choice, which is a LGBT person generally marrying a straight person? Is that a healthy choice? And then is, same-sex committed love or same-sex marriage a healthy choice and possibly the healthiest choice? So, we published like 10 papers from that study. I'm really proud of it. And fast forward, now same-sex marriage has been legalized across the country, not having anything to do with us, but we're happy for that. Evergreen doesn't exist anymore. Reparative therapy is kind of a bygone. The LDS Church now has a Mormon and Gays website, and we're kind of in a different era of moving beyond that initial research. And I'm super excited to have recently learned that Tyler Lefevor, who's joining us today, who's a budding new cutting-edge scholar at Utah State University, my alma mater, go Aggies, is sort of, I don't want to say picking up the baton because it's his own thing, but he's certainly taking a new advanced cutting-edge kind of next step approach to a lot of the questions we were asking back in 2010, 2011. So I have brought Tyler on because these surveys are always more useful if we have the largest N, as we call it in the research biz, the largest sample size as we can possibly get. Now, when I did my study, we cheated. We asked Jennifer Dobner of the Associated Press to publish our study worldwide in the Associated Press newspaper, whatever. Jennifer doesn't work for the AP anymore. It's hard to recruit these days. So I have signed up to help recruit for Tyler's amazing study. And just to sort of cut to the chase, and then we'll bring in Tyler, we want to get as many LGBTQ Mormons and Post-Mormons to take this survey. So if you are LGBTQ and are either Mormon or post-Mormon, I would personally ask you to consider taking this survey. It's called the 4 Options Survey. And I have Tyler Lefevor here in this public service announcement to talk about his amazing study. Tyler, welcome to this Mormon Stories podcast public service announcement.
Hey, thanks, John. Really happy to be here and really grateful for the work you and your team did to start to make it more clear that there are options. There are people who are trying to navigate these difficult life choices and that we can know something about them. Like you said, a lot of what I do builds on work that you and your team started a decade or so ago. And I'm really excited about this new study that we're working on. We're working to do a 10-year longitudinal study of LGBTQ Mormons and Post-Mormons to understand how people navigate their gender, sexual, and religious identities over time. As many of you know, there are certainly much healthier and less healthy ways to do this. And we want to understand what those are and then how they affect your life as you go down the road. A lot of our initial work has examined different ways that people make single or relationship decisions. We've thought about people, like you were saying, John, in same-sex relationships and mixed orientation relationships, who are single and celibate and single and not celibate, and compared them to each other. And we certainly want to do more of that. But we're really interested in how these people fare over time. How is it that people in a same-sex relationship fare over 10 years, or in a mixed orientation relationship, or who are single and celibate? Are there choices that they can make now that will impact their health 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Are there better ways of navigating a relationship with faith? Thinking about attending church to some degree or not, or formally resigning, being excommunicated. How do those types of things affect health? We're really interested in learning these things and need your help. As much as I can sit and think about it and write about stories that I've heard, I would much rather write about all of your stories to understand as best as I can what the variety of experiences people have with faith, gender, sexuality, and health. So I will just double back to John's call before turning it back to him, that if you are someone who was raised or has identified as a Latter-day Saint, whether you're current or a former Mormon, and if you're someone who's experienced same-sex attraction as LGBTQ, we would love to have you take the survey. Our survey website is 4optionssurvey.com. That's the number 4 options with an S, survey.com. And feel free to reach out. I'm happy to chat more if you have questions or comments. John, I'll turn it back to you.
And Tyler, just to get into this a little bit, and I'm not in any way trying to influence the people that take the survey, but I'll just talk about my findings. We basically found, the way that we understood the data from our survey, we were basically kind of thinking when we did the study, the church basically has 3 options for LGBTQ Mormons: either be celibate, be in a mixed orientation marriage, or leave the church. Now, it's probably not as that cut and dry. It probably never was, but it may be a little bit less cut and dry now than ever before. What we found in our study was that probably choosing celibacy was the worst possible option for quality of life, for sexual identity distress, for depression, for all the kind of important indicators that we found. That wasn't a healthy choice. Then from there, we found that mixed orientation marriage was a little better, but it was still deeply, let's just say, problematic or distressing for the people involved. And then we found that if somebody was in a committed same-sex relationship, and preferably a legal same-sex relationship, because there were a few states at the time that did allow legal same-sex marriage, we found a really significant increase in that. So those were our findings. I do remember that there were some who didn't like, I don't know, who felt like that was oversimplified, or they just didn't like our findings. And I'm sure there's other things to kind of look at. So I'm just curious if you could just talk a little bit about, like, to what extent you are looking to sort of either validate or find different findings, and or if there are other questions you're asking in addition to that.
Yeah, thanks. So we've done one round of data collection a couple years ago in which we really validated exactly what you said with the 3 groups and kind of the way that they rank. And we are interested in knowing who has the best health. I think that's an important question that people deserve to know, right? If I am an LGBTQ Mormon or Latter-day Saint, I want to know in what path can I be expected to find the most satisfaction. At the same time, we're interested in another question of, what if I'm already committed to a life path? What if I don't feel like I can step outside of the LDS church or outside of my sexuality, whichever it is? And I'm already married. I'm already in a marriage, right? Exactly. and I want to find ways to be happy and satisfied within that option. And so we're interested in doing some within group analysis of saying, okay, let's just take all of the people who are single and celibate. What are the factors that lead to satisfaction and health within this group? One of my dreams is to help therapists and clergy, bishops, or just people to have more nuance when they're thinking about LGBTQ Mormons and former Mormons, so they don't just say, look, bad, 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 church bad, mixed orientation relationship bad, but they can say, okay, complicated. These are things like you should be talking about sexual attraction if you're in a mixed orientation relationship, or you should be thinking about meeting needs for connection if you're single and celibate. And so we're hoping to provide some guideposts to both individuals and then people who are in helping positions.
And I love that because truthfully, survey research is based on averages and you're just basically comparing group averages. But within any group, you're going to probably have a bell curve of health or satisfaction. And you may find, for example, asexual celibate people that are super happy and you may find some mixed orientation marriages that have really found great ways to make it work. And so it sounds like, I love that. I love that idea that if somebody's in a path, then you want to give them the tips and the tricks and the ideas to help them live their best life within whatever path they've chosen.
Yeah, I'm starting to call it an informed consent model of therapy and life choices. So we want to help therapists and people know the research. They need to know the trends you were talking about, John, because that's the first step. But then they also need to be empowered to make their own decisions. And so we want to help provide the broad trends and then this is the consequence of each decision in a positive and negative fashion so that people can do what they think is going to be best for them.
I love it. Okay. So if somebody wants to fill out this survey, tell us one more time what they do.
Yeah. So go to our website, 4optionssurvey.com, number 4, options with an S, survey.com. And there's a link at the bottom of that page to the survey. You can also find out more about the survey at the website. And it should all be there. And share this link with anyone you know who is currently Mormon and LGBTQ or who was at one point in their lives Mormon and LGBTQ, right? Absolutely.
Or Latter-day Saint, as they're saying these days. Let's see. Oh, how long does this survey take on average? Yeah, so on average, we're looking at 45 to 60 minutes. So we encourage people to take a breath and to plan to do this in a time when they have a minute to sit down. And we will compensate you $10 for taking the survey. Oh, it's $10. $10, yep. So like a latte and a half, basically. Just enough to get you through the survey. Well, that's a Happy Meal or like a cheeseburger. Like, that's good. Yeah, something cheap on Amazon. If you're LGBTQ and either currently or former Mormon and you want a free lunch, it's kind of free. Take this survey and then you get a free lunch. Who says Absolutely. There's no free lunch? Yeah. And Tyler, I'll just say Utah State University's psychology program is top notch. I graduated from there. I'm saying that objectively. There are world-class researchers there. Literally, I think when I was there, the College of Education at Utah State University brought in more research funding than Harvard School of Education. That was true when I was there. It's just a top notch. It's a great place. Yeah. So it's a credit to the university and to you that you guys are working together. Thank you. All right, Tyler, anything else? If people want to reach out to you, is there an email address or? Yeah, you can. Is it on the website? There's a contact form on the website. You can also find my Utah State email address. It's tyler.lefevor@usu.edu. Or if you do. Lefevor. Lefevor. That is correct. Yep. All right. Anything else? No, that's it. Happy to be here. I hope we generate at least 100 respondents, if not more. Absolutely. Fingers crossed. Thanks, listeners, John. Viewers, please take this survey if you qualify, and please share this link with anyone in any groups you know that have LGBTQ Mormons or former Mormons. Please share this survey because the more data we get, the better we can, Tyler and others can formulate sound recommendations for people when they're choosing their life path. If this can get into the hands of therapists, of counselors, of bishops, stake presidents, mission presidents, this type of research can literally save lives and transform lives. And so I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this research is important. Please take an hour to fill out this survey.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
All right, Tyler, you're awesome.
Okay, thank you all.
Let us know if we can help in any other way, okay?
Absolutely, will do. Great to be on here.
Stay in touch.
Okay, you too.
Okay, bye.